Hello and welcome to Turning Lewks, a new beauty, cosmetic, and makeup podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ed Mellor.
And I'm the other host, Darren Mew. Can you believe this is our first episode, finally?
I'm literally, this feels like it's been so long in the making, but I'm so happy to finally sit down and do this podcast with you.
This is a new chat show style podcast where Ed and I will be talking about all things beauty, cosmetics, and makeup. I feel like those words all mean the same thing.
I mean, they kind of do, yeah, but we'll be covering everything from new makeup releases, techniques, commenting on social media beauty, our own personal history in the cosmetic world as well, and chatting to some of our favorite makeup artists, influencers, brand owners, and so much more.
Honestly, if you love makeup as much as we do, you'll definitely want to subscribe to this podcast. Although we've got to mention the elephant in the room. The commercialization of the makeup industry has gone crazy since the rise of social media. And we want to say off the bat that this podcast isn't about selling you products or trying to make you feel like you need to go out and buy and try the latest stuff. It's one of the reasons why this podcast is monthly. And on that note, Ed, why don't you tell our stunning listeners a little bit about you, who you are, and why do you think you're a voice for talking about makeup?
Great question. I was literally thinking about this all day and I was like, how do I answer this question? But I guess I'd say, obviously, my name's Ed. I'm going to introduce myself. So I've been a makeup artist for around 8 years. I currently, again, as a little bit of a disclaimer, I do work for Charlotte Tilbury as a pro artist, but I also work on the side as a freelance artist as well. So I work doing lots of weddings, but I also do lots of kind of fashion shows and red carpets. I've been really lucky to be part of Charlotte's team for around 7 years now. So I've had so many amazing opportunities through that. But also I'm just really passionate about makeup in general and kind of the landscape of where makeup is at the moment on social media and with all these amazing, incredible artists that are out there and the kind of explosion of makeup artistry and beauty. I think especially as a queer person, I think you could probably speak to this as well, Darren, but we have quite a unique maybe perspective on makeup and kind of outlook on makeup and why it's so important. So I thought this would just be a really fun kind of platform to talk about that. What about you? What's your thing?
No, that really, it does make sense. I mean, the makeup you do is incredible, and it's so different from a lot of the makeup that's kind of already out there. But I guess, like you said, it's because of the way you do your makeup for. You're doing it for red carpets. You're doing it for those events and stuff. You're not just doing it for social media, which I feel like a lot of makeup now has become. It's makeup to be sat in front of a filming studio in your bedroom kind of thing, which a lot of people do, which no shade to people that do that. I mean, people make a lot of money from doing that. But yes, my name's Darren. I'm a self-proclaimed makeup enthusiast. I'm not a makeup artist. Yeah, for me, I guess, I just someone that as someone that works in social media and content creation, for me, makeup has become very much a part of that. I spend a lot of my evenings watching YouTubers talking about makeup and watching TikToks and Instagram reels about different makeup techniques, different makeup products, very much constantly being sold makeup. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I just anger. There is a bunch of YouTubers that I do just hate watch though, and nothing they can do with their makeup actually really thrills me. I just sit there and shout at the TV for ages. It's great. But look at us, self-proclaimed beauty experts. Explain so much. Ed, where did your love for makeup begin? What was the first makeup product you ever bought?
Those are two very different questions, and I feel quite a long story, but I'll start with the first one first. So my passion for makeup, I always remember growing up seeing people like David Bowie, RuPaul, all these amazing kind of queer icons on TV, and just being fascinated with the way that they not only looked, but the kind of energy and the presence that they commanded in those kind of very extravagant guises, and how the power of makeup can really bring out, sounds really cliche and a bit cheesy, but it brings out your inner confidence, and it's such an incredible way to express yourself. And I just remember as a young kid being immediately kind of taken aback by these incredible people and how they used makeup to alter their appearance and make them look like fantasy characters or kind of whatever the case may be. It was just something I always found really fascinating. And I remember my mum, hi mum, if you're listening to this, she's an insurance broker, and she went to this random conference one day, and Illamasqua had been there on a stand, and she brought me back. She knew that I was really interested in makeup at this point. She brought me back this booklet, which was based on one of their campaigns for Art of Darkness that Alex Box kind of created. And Alex Box obviously is an incredible, insane makeup artist. Not even just makeup artist, just artist in general. And I just remember seeing this booklet with all of these incredible fantasy characters and incredible intricate makeup that I hadn't really seen before. I think I kind of viewed makeup a little bit in some ways for most people as kind of how you were saying before, this very commercialized, very feminine in quotation marks. There's nothing wrong with looking feminine in makeup, but it wasn't something that I necessarily always identified with. So I just remember seeing this like incredible booklet full of these amazing images, and I was like, that is what I want to do. Like that is the fucking coolest thing in the world. Like I want that as my job. So then I kind of went down like a bit of a rabbit hole. It was kind of when the whole explosion of like YouTube began. You had people like Michelle Phan and like Petrolude and like all these incredible like original people on YouTube that started kind of the makeup tutorial trend. And yeah, I just became like obsessed with makeup. My first makeup product, though, I think from memory, was MAC Studio Fix Fluid. It was the only thing that I could afford. It was in the days when like MAC was like the biggest deal and they did the most incredible like collections. But yeah, I think that was my first product. What was how did you kind of like get into makeup? I know you said like it's something you've always been really interested in, but what was like your stepping stone into that?
I guess for me, my like journey into makeup was a funny one. It was not as amazing and like cultured and like full of passion as yours. For me, I remember being at uni and like doing video calls with my mom, and my mom just constantly saying, "You look tired. Are you okay? Are you eating all right? Are you okay?" So I remember buying a concealer because of that, and that's kind of where it began. And I remember back when I was at uni, and back this time, it was when Zoella was big. And Zoella's like favorite concealer at the time was a collection Lasting Perfections one. That they only had in 3 shades back in the day as well, and like the lightest shade was still way too dark. But I remember getting it because Zoella liked it, and when I was at uni, wanted to be like Zoella, living like an influencer life. So that's kind of where it began for me. Was with like concealer, trying to hide my dark circles, and then I think as my like understanding of my gender identity came through university, the like me playing with makeup kind of progressed and changed and grew, and the more that I understood like my skin and what I wanted out of makeup too, very much through university. There was some awful picture of me like with the worst bronzer contour that I've posted pictures on Instagram of ever, that obviously they're not on there now. But yeah, so I think for me it was very much like during my time at university and like kind of exploring myself and exploring like my identity and that kind of side of things was when my kind of like love for makeup came into it. But yeah, my love for makeup also very much came from like, I guess, that influencer world of like seeing people online doing all these YouTube videos of like the most boring looks, but calling them bold. Like, oh, I'm doing a bold smoky eye. And it was just like a brown
taupe eyeshadow.
Yeah, literally you put your bronzer in your crease, but apparently that's bold, Mary. Where like as it's become now, like it's so much like more creative and obviously so much more makeup out there and stuff. But yeah, I think mine was very much through content creation side of things.
Amazing. I mean, that's like so interesting. I think that like whole era of YouTube has like completely altered like so many industries, like definitely like the gaming industry and technology, but I think massively for beauty, we've just seen like this huge explosion of makeup artists and influencers online. And influencing obviously wasn't really a job when we probably started kind of getting interested in makeup, or it just started to become a thing. And now it's this huge like multi-billion pound or dollar industry, which is like super fascinating. And there's so much content and like tools that are available to people now that like back in our day when we were kind of cronies, these kind of things weren't available. So it's like it's so cool to kind of see how much it's changed, I guess.
What I find wild as well though, like we're going back in like circles as well, like because like TikTok is now kind of still in its infantry kind of years. All the kind of things that were happening in YouTube back in the day and now like re-happening again with TikTok, especially in like the beauty world, where like very much trends and stuff are kind of cycling around a lot quicker, but that's I think the form of TikTok content. But like the way that like the same kind of dramas are happening that or originally happened back in the day on beauty YouTube, where people like not saying that they were being sponsored or using fake eyelashes for mascara, they're now happening again on TikTok, and it's like, what, are we back in 2012?
Yeah,
Wild.
it's very cyclical. I mean, nothing's original, is it? I guess like everything comes back around, like trends, like you say, like 90s makeup is super back in, or is it like 2016 makeup? I feel like is meant to be coming back. I heard somewhere. But like everything is so cyclical, like nothing's really original. It's just the same thing, kind of like, reincarnated.
Definitely. But very much like a quick speed as well now, I feel like before you'd have trends and things would come back, but like there'd be a long time between it. But it feels like the early 2000s are coming back in trend, and like thin eyebrows are already coming back in trend. I'm like, I remember only a few years ago where everyone was saying we're gonna have fluffy eyebrows because we're rejecting that thin eyebrow trend like from the 90s and stuff, and it's already back again. It's like, what's going on here?
I feel like I log into TikTok one day and then I come on the next day and it's something like completely different. Like it's impossible to keep up with like what's going on, which I think is like it's a really good thing because it gives again, like so much like access to resources and people can learn so much, but equally I think it becomes almost like a bit of like a trend hopping thing. My favorite quote from I'm sure you know John McClane, who's an incredible makeup artist and YouTuber, does the best tutorials, but he always says that trends are for the anxious. And I think that's definitely like something that I kind of relate to a little bit. I think people do tend to kind of hop on these trends too much. And it's like, this is the new product that you have to like go out and buy. And people are like crying on camera over a concealer or a foundation. Whereas like, I think our roots in that kind of thing are more to do with like the self-expression side of makeup as opposed to like products and like, oh, this is the trending new like eyeliner or concealer. And like, you have to have this in your kit or you're not doing makeup. I find that just like really trivial and a bit annoying, really.
Definitely. And I was watching a video recently. I think it was like one of Lisa Eldridge's video. Well, it's hard to say. But she was talking about like the 90s trend that's coming back. And it was really nice to listen to her because like in the video, she kind of talks about the 90s trend, but like as a very wide thing, and like how that like a lot of the trends that we're seeing very quickly happening on TikTok are all encompassing of like this kind of vibe of the 90s, and they might come through like, oh, this like one specific trend, like, oh, we're gonna have thin eyebrows now, and then the next thing is, oh, we're gonna have like nude like beigey lips, and then these kind of things. They're all part of like one bigger trend, but they're just coming through in like drips and drabs on TikTok. And I end up commenting on Lisa Eldridge's video, which is hilarious and funny, like who does that anymore? But I literally commented being like, oh, like thank you for this like kind of like almost this slowing down of talking about these trends as like one big part of one big trend rather than all these like small little ones. And someone replied saying, yeah, I think that a lot of the trends that we see that are happening so quickly on TikTok are like micro trends, but a lot of the time they're actually part of a bigger trend that we're just, because we're so involved in and ingesting all this like content so quickly, we forget to kind of take that step back. And I think people like Lisa and probably like you can take that step back and be like, okay, I'm seeing all of these trends happening, but as a makeup artist, they're all part of this one big trend, which is actually a reincarnation of the grungy 90s makeup or the baby doll noughties makeup kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's something like we've definitely lost a little bit, is that like, where did those trends originate from? Like, who are the people that really led the way and like broke boundaries and were incredible artists and like created these new trends, and like they're almost just being not appropriated, because I think that word's like a little bit overused and quite sensitive, but appropriated by like these new influencers who have no like necessarily like knowledge of beauty history and like where things come from, like what cultures they originate from. Like, I think it's really fascinating. Again, I could talk for like hours and hours and hours about that. But I think you mentioned Lisa Eldridge there, who is obviously like one of the most incredible makeup artists and now obviously a brand owner as well. I think she's like such an authority on beauty. So I'm really, she was one of the first people that I started watching as well, like back in the day, one of the people that really inspired me to become a makeup artist. She's just so incredible.
Yeah, she seems really lovely. I've got a friend of mine who like worked at her pop-up shop and said that she's like super lovely and like really involved in her brand and stuff, which is really nice. And like even when she's talking about her products and her new launches and stuff, it's like the way she talks about it, I don't think I've ever heard anyone else talk about makeup in the way that she does.
Yeah, she's done it in like she's positioned her brand in like a very unique way in like the market. I think there's so many people who are making like makeup brands now who are kind of just recycling, no shade, a little bit of kind of what's been done already. But I think she's kind of taken that in a way but made it completely unique and her own, and she's really fueled all of that like knowledge of history of makeup that she has. Like, she obviously has that incredible book. I actually got to meet her once. She did a book signing at my university when she released Face Paint, and she's literally looks about 7 years old in person. Like, she's never aged a day, and she's so sweet and so like knowledgeable about makeup. She's like definitely one of the pillars of the makeup community, I think, and still going strong, obviously. Like, to this day she's still got so many amazing red carpet clients, and now the huge success of her brand as well.
Yeah, definitely. Did you get your book signed by her?
I did. It's like my prized possession. I've got it in my bookcase at home. Like, I always, whenever I'm feeling like in doubt about myself and like my work, I'll go and like have a little read through the book, look at the little kind of signature that she gave me. And yeah, it's a really great memory. She's an icon.
She is. I've got the book and it's signed by her, but like, again, it was my friend that worked at the pop-up. She already got a book signed by Lisa, but then for Christmas, I think at that pop-up, the staff all got gifted the book. So I've got the book, but it's like, to Grace.
To Grace, that's your new name. I love that.
So I'm like, it's like, I've got a signed book, but it's just not to me. But I'm like, it's great, and it's a really great book. I like, similar to you, like I love reading it and like just looking at that history and like, yeah, like how much detail and stuff that she goes into. And I love like, even like in her first shop, she had like collections of the old makeup kind of things that she's collected over the years. I'm like, This is great. Like, you really treat this like a museum, like this kind of these products, not just as makeup, which I feel like a lot of people do these days.
Yeah, like I went around the pop-up store as well, and it was like so incredible to see all these vintage like makeup pieces and how different makeup was then. And so it was so much more original. There's so much more like creativity behind it. It was like a mixture of like art and makeup. And I think like we've lost a little bit of that again, as we were like saying before, with the whole commerciality like vibe. But yeah, she's super fucking cool. I love her.
Are you saying that the Simpsons makeup like collaborations aren't artistic?
I would never say that on a recording, but yes, I know completely. Like, I think it's really fun as well. And I'm not judging, I guess, brands for doing things like that, like gimmicky products or things that maybe are like a little bit silly, because makeup isn't all serious. Like, it's supposed to be fun and it's completely subjective. And every person and every brand has like the right to express themselves like in whatever way that they want. So even though we share these opinions on here, like you do you boo, like you can do whatever. But I do think like some of these collections are a little bit like money grabby, and they do kind of like take a little bit of like the art and the integrity that is behind a lot of like really big makeup artists and a lot of really big brands who put so much work into it. And then you have like these huge, I don't know, like makeup brands that just bring out like the silliest shit just to grab some money. I don't know.
I love that PR response at the start there. Like, anyone can do anything they like. Beauty is subjective. I hate it.
Yeah, basically, essentially.
But no, I agree with you. I feel like as much as I love the fact that like makeup is so much more accessible now, there is a point where people are acting like they're doing new things without actually doing anything new. Where's the innovation in the products? Like, the packaging is great and all, but I don't really need to see a collab with Care Bears or My Chemical Romance for me to buy something.
Hey, I would buy My Chemical Romance collection in a heartbeat.
There was one.
Oh, really? Oh my God, I missed
Yeah.
that. This is your breaking beauty news that you're sharing this week.
It's the same. I think it was Hip Doc. They did. I think it was them. They did like Evanescence one too.
I'm sure it's not incredible makeup, but I mean, I'm a My Chemical Romance fan from when I was a teenager, so I guess it counts.
I know. New shade in the makeup. Wow. So, Ed, as you work in makeup, has your like love for makeup changed over the years from being someone that kind of just like loved it from afar to now working in it? Do you just view it as a job now, or?
It's a really big mix of like both. I think I'm really lucky to work in a field that's like super creative, that's filled with really creative people, really diverse like groups of people as well, who come from, you know, all over the world, all different walks of life. Like, you're always constantly working with new people, and I think that's like one of the favorite things about my job is the people that you get to meet and kind of connect with. Like, it's incredible. Obviously it is a job though at the same time. Like, it looks very glamorous and very fun. I think, again, this whole kind of, not to harp on like influencers too much, but I think the whole kind of influencer era has kind of made people believe that it's this super glamorous like lifestyle, that you should be in it just to get followers and to go to like fun parties. But at the end of the day, like, it can be a really hard job. Obviously it's not the hardest job in the world. There's people who save lives on a daily basis, like it's just makeup, but it can be something that's like really, really stressful. But again, it's like you get so many fun opportunities to travel, and I think anyone that has the opportunity to be able to be creative in their job, whatever it is that they do, is really lucky. So I feel really lucky to do what I do. So yeah, it's definitely evolved. You know, not every day is like super, super fun, and it can't always be like that, but I could be doing a lot worse off and a lot worse things. So yeah, I feel really like grateful and lucky to have the job that I have.
Do you find that when you're doing makeup stuff that's not for work, so like makeup on yourself or makeup on someone else just for the fun of it, does it give you different feelings? So when you're doing it in work, like, do you get different kind of inspirations and different kind of do different things?
Yeah, I guess so. I think because obviously when you work with a client, whether I'm working, you know, through Charlotte or I'm doing my own kind of like freelance thing, your work is always based on what your client wants. So you might want to do like the craziest, most dramatic, editorial, avant-garde, like creative look that you could imagine, but your client wants like a nubile baby skin with like a bit of tinted moisturizer and some mascara. So you're always kind of at the like demand of your client, I guess. But I think when I'm outside of work and I don't have that kind of brief to follow, it can either be like really incredible and I feel like I can just express myself and do whatever, or I get complete like brain fog, like I forget how to do makeup. I'm like, there's too much possibility here of like what I can do. It's almost like, what do I do? And I can sometimes get like a little bit lost in that. But yeah, I enjoy doing both. I like working to a brief and I like kind of just doing whatever. I love doing like my friends' makeup, like every now and then, like just doing something cute and fun. But it depends on my mood, really.
So we're coming to a close on the first episode. So Ed, prior to this week's episode, we are both tasked with finding some latest beauty news to share our opinions on. Are you ready?
I am so ready. I can't wait.
You said that with some determination. So, Sephora UK's new store has recently opened in Westfield's White City. I actually opened it on the 8th of March, which was my birthday. I didn't get an invite to the open party the night before, which was really rude. The Sugar Babes performed. They looked like they didn't want to be there at all. It was kind of hilarious. Did you see it?
I did see it, and I'm sure the reason they didn't look that interested is because actually they wanted to be performing at your birthday. But I haven't been yet. I'm like desperate to go. I think it's like really interesting that they're deciding to kind of open now. I think this is going to sound shady, and I don't mean to sound shady again, but I think it's almost like a little bit too late for them. Not late for them, but I feel like if they'd have done it 10 years ago when Sephora had like every brand that the UK didn't, like I remember you'd go onto YouTube and people would be doing like makeup forever hauls at like Sephora because we didn't have any of those like brands here. But I think now that beauty has exploded so much within like the retail space, you can kind of find a lot of the brands that Sephora used to kind of have. So it's almost like they've not got much more that's like different to offer, if that makes sense. But I think there's a few brands that they had that like we don't have, right?
Yeah, I think they've got, I think, One Size.
Oh yeah, of course.
Sephora's own brand, obviously. And I think Rem, although Rem you used to be able to get in Selfridges, but I think because Morphe's got their issues that they've got going on, I think now Rem is exclusive to Sephora, I think. But yes, like you said, it's kind of an interesting one. I'm not sure how exciting it is because I think they did try and open like years and years and years ago, I think before YouTube kind of makeup was a big thing, and it didn't do very well because there wasn't like the thirst for makeup like there is now. And like you said, now it feels like it's just a little bit too late for it, and a lot of the brands that you can get there you can kind of get anywhere else. The big old Boots are like Sephora's in themselves, and between Boots and Superdrug you can get a lot of different like makeup brands. And then if you add things like Harvey Nicks or Harrods or Selfridges into it, you're kind of done for all the brands. So it doesn't feel like as needed or as like wow as it could be. I mean, it's nice the fact that like we'll be able to go to a Sephora and get that black and white stripe bag and, you know, live our best lives kind of thing. But yeah, I'm not as excited for it as I like thought I would be. But I feel like we're also partly in the minority here because like I've seen the videos of the queues on that opening day to get into Sephora. It went all the way around Westfield. So Westfield isn't small.
Yeah, that's mad. I mean, to be fair, like I know I just said that, but I will definitely be shopping there. Like it's always nice to have like a new space to shop in. And there's a few, again, like you said, brands that are kind of new that I'll have to try. I've actually really wanted to try One Size, Patrick Starr's brand. I hear very good things about his powders.
His loose setting powder is really, really nice. I have that. And my flatmate's got his like pressed powder and she really likes that too. Like his products are nice. But yeah, like is that the kind of the main brand you're going for? Is there like a brand that you really like want to go and try other than Patrick Starr?
Oh my God, of course. Actually, I take back everything I said because I know Makeup by Mario is there. I know actually his collection at the moment isn't like huge. It's obviously growing and expanding as he's quite like a new brand. But obviously Makeup by Mario Dedivanovic is like an incredible makeup artist. He's so established in the industry. It's obviously famous for doing all of the Kardashians and Jenners and celebrities, etc. But I think him being such an expert on products and how they work and having all that access as a makeup artist for so many years, the products kind of have to be good. So I'm really excited. I've not tried any of them yet, but I've had like a few of my friends who are freelance makeup artists who have quite a few of his products in their kits, and they've all said that it's like incredible. So I really want to try the like contour sticks. I kind of want to try his foundation, even though I've heard like a little bit of mixed reviews, but I have a feeling it would be my cup of tea. The eyeshadow palette as well, they look really cute. I feel like that would be such a good like red carpet or like bridal palette or just like everyday. Like it's just so cute. Have you tried anything from him?
No, I don't think I've tried anything from him, but I think his stuff is at Sephora. Yeah, I can see what you mean by like the eyeshadow palettes being very everyday kind of glam makeup. They're very like neutrally kind of colors. He's not really doing like crazy colors, which is nice. And the foundation, I don't think it's for me because everyone says it gets really shiny very quickly, which isn't my vibe. I've got too big a pores for that, but it does seem like a nice foundation. I do want to get something from his brand at some point, like you said, because he seems like because he's an incredible makeup artist and seems like a nice person. He's like one of those makeup brands like, I want to buy something from you just to support you and just to kind of say I've got something from Makeup by Mario.
100%.
I think I'd get one of his like lip balm serum things. I think that's what I want to get.
Oh, they look really juicy. Actually, they look really nice. Right. I'm gonna have to go to Sephora now. Literally gonna have to go today, maybe. So, London Fashion Week obviously happened last month. I was very thankful to be there for some of it. Did a couple of shows. We did Annie's Ibiza. It was her first show that she's actually done in London. It was in St. Paul's Cathedral in the Crypt, which was an incredible venue. I think they had to cancel it last time because of the Queen's death, so rest in peace, Queen Liz. But yeah, it was a really incredible show, just about like super glowy skin, like really highlighted, kind of strobed, glossy skin, and some of the models had this really cute like show. We also were part of like the Harris Reed show, and obviously anyone that listens to this podcast who knows anything about fashion will probably know Harris Reed's name, because he's very, very big in fashion at the moment, an incredible designer. His shows are always so beautiful, and the clothes are insane. And he's definitely one of those people who's very collaborative and then like involved in the makeup design process as well. He really wants all of the models to kind of have characters. He reminds me a little bit of like John Galliano and McQueen, in the sense of like he understands like the importance of makeup and how it can elevate the look of your clothes and your show. So that was really fun to be a part of. What else did I do for Fashion Week? I did one of my clients, Imani Lansico, who's an Olympic runner. She went to quite a few shows. That was a crazy day, but she's absolutely gorgeous. Paris Fashion Week as well. We did Nina Ricci, which was super crazy, but a very, very busy Fashion Week this year.
But sounds really exciting, and sounds like so many different things to be working on as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. One of the really crazy ones that I saw is my friend, who also now has her own brand, which is really made tongues and like stained teeth and makeup look. Like, what did you think about that, Darren?
I thought it was an interesting one. My kind of thing is like, is it makeup? Is it not? Obviously, it's inside your mouth, but then they were opening their mouth to show it, so it's that kind of weird, like, yeah, what's the vibe here? Is it makeup? Is it not? But if we're saying it is, I think it was cool. It very much kind of, I feel like, is on trend, like kind of goes in par with all of the trends that we're seeing at the moment, in sense of that kind of like 90s-y kind of makeup, the grungy kind of makeup, very Ismaya. And they were cool. It kind of just made me want to go get like sour lollipop and suck on the sour lollipop for a little bit.
No, I feel that. I think that's really what you were saying as well before about it being like, is it makeup? Is it not? I think that's something that Ismaya does really well, because again, like I was saying about Alex Box before, like she works in so many different mediums. Like she works in makeup, but she does a lot of like prosthetics. Obviously, she did a lot of the Vivienne Westwood shows. Rest in peace to our Viv, love Viv. Like, she's just such a creative person. Like, she works in like creative direction and like photography. Like, she models. I think she's now got like music coming out or something. Like, she's such a diversely creative person. Like, she's doing bits.
She's making that money. But did you like that kind of makeup?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to look at. Again, it's probably more of what I would have been originally interested in when I was younger. That like very grungy, very editorial, creative, quite dark perspective on beauty. I really like when people kind of flip this idea of beauty and turn it into something that's maybe not traditionally considered beautiful, but is like super, super creative. Just, yeah, like something that's not been done before. We see so many like red lips and like pretty glowy skin, which is all great, and I love doing that as well, but it's nice to see something like a bit different and almost a bit gross that kind of like fucks with the status quo of like what makeup should be. So I think she's really cool.
It's makeup, but it's not beauty in inverted commas. It's doing something a bit different. Like you said, it's a bit gross. It's a bit makes you think about it, which I think a lot of times makeup can do that, and a lot of times it doesn't do that. So when something does make you do that, kind of stop and think and be like, oh, what is this? It's nice to see.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's about all we have time for this week. Did you enjoy that, Ed?
You know what? I did. I was really nervous to sit down and kind of record with you, because I hate hearing my voice in recordings. But I think it's been really nice to like chat about makeup and our perspective on things. I had a really good time. Did you?
Yes, I loved it. I can't wait for next month's chat with our super special guests, but naming no names for now.
It'll have to be a surprise. So exciting. Yeah, we're going to have some really incredible guests, hopefully come on, that we're both really inspired by, to have a more kind of chat about makeup. So you don't miss anything out. Make sure that you subscribe to this podcast now and leave a review. Make sure it's really nice as well. No hate in the comments. It'll really help us out.
And don't forget to follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Turning Lewks Pod for behind the scenes content, ways for you to get involved, and so you know when the next episode is going to come out before anybody else.
We love it. We love to see it. It was incredible to sit down and chat with you. Thank you, Darren. And I'll see you guys next time.
It was lovely chatting to you too, Ed. Bye for now.